Hey guys, tonight we're making squash Alabama. This recipe comes from Brenda Gantt. So if you watch any cooking videos, I'm sure you know who she is. She has several cookbooks. I have her first cookbook, which this recipe comes out of. But I made this for the first time at Easter this year. And it turned out way better than I ever thought it could. It was really, really good. And even the leftovers of it was delicious. So I had some squash that looks like they are on their last leg. So they look kind of pitiful. I got some little spots to kind of cut off of them, but they're going to be fine. So I'm going to use these to make my squash Alabama tonight. First, you want to preheat your oven to 350. And now I'm just going to cut up my squash into kind of like half moons. So I'm basically just going to cut the ends off. And then I will cut off any of these little spots on the skin that kind of look kind of funky. I did wash these real good, scrub them. All right. And then I'm just going to cut them in half. And then just slice them up. And then I'm going to put them in a pot. Let me get all my squash cut up and I'll check back. Alright, once you have all your squash cut up, you want to put them in just enough water to cover it. You don't want to put a whole bunch of water, like drown them. Just enough water to cover them. And then I'm going to cook them just until tender. Now, while my squash is cooking, I'm going to cut up a bell pepper and a sweet onion. Okay, once your squash is fork tender, you want to go ahead and drain it and let it sit in the colander to try to get a lot of that moisture, because you know squash puts out a lot of moisture anyway because of the seeds. So you don't want to cook them too mushy because they are going to cook again in the oven. So just when they're fork tender, go ahead and get them in a strainer to drain. All right, turn down your heat, and in the same pan, I'm going to put in half a stick of butter, and then I'm going to put in my onion and bell pepper that I chopped up. Now you're going to saute this for 5 to 7 minutes or so till your vegetables start getting soft. And you know, while one thing's cooking, you want to go ahead and be prepping the next steps of your recipe, which you can get done ahead of time to just make it faster. Or if there's nothing else for you to do, you could wash up a few dishes that you're dirtying up. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead. I already have a 16-ounce block of Velveeta chopped up. I went ahead and chopped that up after I chopped up my vegetables, so I have that waiting for my next step. And I'm going to go ahead and make the topping while my vegetables are cooking. So in this bowl, I have half a stick of butter that I've melted, and I have a sleeve of Ritz crackers that I have crushed up in the sleeve. So I'm going to mix these two together for our topping without making a huge mess, hopefully. Okay, I've got that ready to go. We'll see if one sleeve is enough. That's what the recipe calls for, but I like a lot of toppings, so we'll see if that's enough. Okay, well, my onions are getting translucent. I didn't cook mine for very long. I'm kind of ready to get the show on the road. So, but my onions are getting translucent. So now we're going to dump in what's going to make up the sauce of our casserole. The recipe calls for 1.5 cups of cubed Velveeta. I just bought the 16-ounce box because Velveeta is expensive. And I used this amount at Easter and it was fabulous. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going to add in a cup of mayonnaise. Duke's, of course. And you're going to add in 2 eggs. And when you're doing this step, you make sure your pot's off the heat. We don't want scrambled eggs. And now you want to add in some black pepper. We are not going to add in any salt because we have salted butter that we cook the vegetables in. We have the Velveeta that's very salty, and then we've got the butter and the crackers that's on top that's got some salt in it, so we're not adding any salt. And I know y'all are thinking, ooh, mayonnaise. I thought the same thing. You cannot tell it's mayonnaise. I couldn't. When I ate it, it was very, very good. Now you're going to add back in the squash that you cooked. All right, once you've got that all combined, you're going to dump it into your 13 by 9 casserole dish. And now you're going to spread over your cracker and butter topping. I'm just going to do it with my hands. All right, this is what it looks like with one sleeve of crackers. I'm always extra. I'm going to do another sleeve of crackers just because I like a lot of that crunchy topping. Okay, so I've melted another half a stick of butter and crushed another sleeve of ritz. You can totally do it with just the one. All right, now that looks much better. So I'm going to put this in my 350-degree oven, and it will bake for probably 35 to 45 minutes. But I'll show you. I'll tell you exactly how long, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, guys, I forgot to show you this right out of the oven, but this has been sitting and resting for a few minutes while we've been finishing up the rest of supper. So this is what it looks like right out of the, out of the oven. And then we'll get everything plated up, and I'll show you. Okay, guys. Going to do a taste test of our squash Alabama. Tonight we're serving it with grilled flank steak, and I have a recipe either going up before this or after this for the marinade that we used for that. And then I just have some sauteed asparagus, and then there is the squash Alabama casserole. Y'all, that looks so good. It has so much flavor. That Velveeta in it just gives it a nice little salty kick. It's creamy, does not taste anything like mayonnaise to me. It's just nice and creamy, and it's got that little bit of cheese in it, and you got the buttery ritz on top, and you can taste the onions and the peppers. It's just, Brenda Gantt knocked it out of the park with this. This is such a good... Anyway, y'all look at me, I'm blushing. We've been married 30-something years, I'm blushing. Ooh, anyway. So anyway, this is really good. Y'all let me know if you try it, and thank you for tuning in. See you guys next time. Bye.